Cox and Mumford. All most people should have a combination of these three in their two ruck spots. So these are the three ruckmen who are out having really good seasons this year. You can see Brett Mumford's obviously more valuable in Supercoach than Dreamteam, but still well worth the pick. Some people may say that David Hill or Paddy Ryder might be a good option as well, but really I think most people should focus on these three. With most people have Sandilands and Cox, but Brett Mumford could be a good unique pick come finals time. And the forwards. Again, these are the forwards on the bench that most players would have. Be looking at Cracker, who's kind of in and out, but looked good last week. Got another big score after maybe a lot of people traded him out, such as I did. And I traded him out for Robbie Gray. So not a great move, but I think Robbie Gray will still probably outscore Andrew Cracker for the season. But you're looking at Tapscott and Jack Darling. Now, Jack Darling, like Heppel and Kernar, is probably the rookie bench player that I'd keep for the season and not move there. Now, I've named those three players mainly because they're virtually locks in their best 22 of their teams, and they don't seem to be destined to be wearing the substitutes vest at all. So I think those three rookies that most people should have should be locked on the bench and not be used as trades, or at least not till later on in the year. So Tapscott and Brandon Matera still got a few weeks away to reach their maximum prices. Drew Petrie has got probably a month or so. Chris Knight's Presti is injured at the moment, but once he gets back, he should be getting some decent points and be a good player that you can sell for some money. And Jaden Pitt's been playing well at Fremantle as well, but a young, skinny kid, so probably will get rested at some point this season. And the best rookies that you could possibly replace any of those players with, I've kind of gone through. Kieran Harper looked good for North last week, so keep an eye on him. Aaron Sipos at St Kilda, saw him play a couple of weeks ago against Coburg in the VFL before St Kilda went up to Brisbane. And when I saw the changes and that Reece Stanley came in ahead of Aaron Sipos, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. Aaron Sipos looks like a natural forward, and I think he could be a really good foil for Nick Riewoldt up there in the front half of St Kilda. So I'd really expect him to start playing some games soon for St Kilda. I don't know what's holding him out of the team, but he seems to be ready to go to me. Jed Lamb at the Swans. If the Swans kind of continue their slight downward trend that I see, I think he's got some real energy and flash that could ignite the Swans a little bit. Really talented player that could get some games for the Swans. And the way Port are going, I'd expect John Butcher, the big key forward from Jack Watt's draft, has been playing some SCNFL footy. I'd expect him to get some games for Port at some point this year as well. I can't see why he wouldn't be getting a game ahead of the likes of Westhoff or Schultz. And the ones to be looking at to get into your team at the end, the blue chippers, would be Fife and Chapman. Nat Fife's having a great year for Fremantle. Chappie's again looks like he's going steady. I kind of thought he might be getting a little bit better weary, and maybe those hamstrings might be getting a bit tight, but he looks very good at the start of the year. Alan Didak returning from injury, kind of like Ablett and Lake, his price is dropping, but I think in the second half of the year he'll start hitting some real form, and Pavlich is being as consistent as usual. So probably Alan Didak's probably the one out of those in terms of value when other players reach their maximum value that a lot of people might be looking at to bring into their teams. So now the captain scenario, no Swanee this week because Collingwood has the bye, and no Pendles either, but there should be no worries. There are plenty of players to look at this week for be your captain. First one is Matthew Boyd. A little bit of a question mark playing Sydney. Sometimes player scores against the Swans can go down, but he is very consistent, so he'll get somewhere around the 100 mark. So and he's averaging about 116, I think. So it's a reasonably good bet. Scott Thompson for the Crows, playing Melbourne this week. Now Melbourne are one of the weaker contested footy teams in the league at the moment, and Scott Thompson's a contested ball winner, so playing against his old team as well, it could be a good week to have Scott Thompson as the captain. Aaron Sandilands for Fremantle, playing the Tigers this week, so up against Angus Graham and Ty Vickery, could have a big week unless one of those two can control big Aaron Sandilands this week, so expect him to get a lot of tap outs. Tom Rockcliffe, I'll put him in here. The first derby game up in Queensland between the Gold Coast Suns and the Brisbane Lions. So if Kyle Reimers can kick 8 goals against the Gold Coast Suns, then Tom Rockcliffe could possibly get Fred Fanning's record. So expect a big game from Tom Rockcliffe in the first Queensland derby. And on the other side of the Queensland fence is Gary Ablett. I can't really see a tagger in the Brisbane Lions team that's going to go with him. Andrew Rains is trying, but he's probably not quite up to the standard of tagging Gary Ablett, so I expect Gary Ablett to have a big say in how that game turns out as well. So any of those guys, I think, if you've got them, are really good captain's options for this week. And the injuries, we'll look at the injuries we go through. At the Crows, you've got Phil Davis going out with his shoulder, where he's had surgery, so that hasn't been confirmed. Andrew Otten's out for a couple of weeks with that knee complaint. You go down to Brisbane, Jonathan Brown still a few weeks away. Carlton, Mark Murphy's shoulder from the Swans game's okay. Chris Sharon will be back this week. And Matthew Cruiser is coming back through the twos this week at the Northern Bull Ants. So there's some interesting times there. And Ryan Houlihan also is almost back from a calf injury, but to say a calf injury is an old man's injury, so I'll be watching him. For Collingwood, Darren Jolly's got a test on his knee, so keep an eye on that. Essendon, not a whole lot there. Andrew Welch hurt his calf late before the bounce last week and got changed out. But otherwise than that, you got Courtney Dempsey and Winderlick, who did their knees a couple of weeks ago. So they're out for the season. At Fremantle, Mzungu's 4 to 5 weeks away. And Michael Barlow's to be confirmed, so that's some concern for those who wanted to upgrade to Michael Barlow at some point this season. No real big names at Geelong. Gold Coast got Charlie Dixon, who's been playing well up forward, so some people may have him on the forwards bench. Josh Fraser was terrible last week, so anyone that gambled on Josh Fraser in the rucks at the start of the year would be cursing. Hawthorn, Ken Bruce, 4 to 6 weeks with the knee. Cyril Rioli, 1 to 3 weeks, so we'll see how Cyril's hamstring goes. He could be one that some people may trade out now and bring in Nat Fyfe, but we'll see what the prognosis is later on this week with his hamstring before any of that kind of may happen. That would be me. Melbourne, Tom Scully, that 5 weeks seems to just be staying at 5 weeks and not going anywhere, so that must be some concern for Melbourne. And Jordan McKenzie, the tackling machine, looks like he's got a test this week, so we'll see if he comes back into the Melbourne team. I think they may need, even though he's been out for a while, his ferocity in the tackle against the Crows. North Melbourne, Bastanak and McIntosh both indefinite, so that's not a good sign. Kasisi a few weeks away for Port. Lenny Hayes, of course, out for the season. Michael Gardner and Kosicki still to be assessed, but no major losses in Dreamteam or Supercoach land there. In Sydney, Kieran Jack out for 4 to 6 weeks, and Gary Rowan indefinite. So not good signs for those two, and people have them in their team. Bo Waters out for a long time still, and Western Bulldogs Sean Higgins looks like he's going to be out this week. So that's no good for people who've got him, and he's been averaging over 100. Ryan Hargrave a few weeks away. There's Premier a couple of weeks, and Hall and Wood also the same. So some a few names there that will affect people's dream teams going forwards. And also remember, Brian Lake looks like playing in the reserves this week for the Western Bulldogs to regain some form down there. So he won't be in the teams this week, I don't think. So this is how my teams have been going. Haven't done this for a couple of weeks. So last week I got 1,903 points, and my ranking went to 1,309. That ended up being actually a rather good score last week in a very low scoring round. Supercoach 2,063, and my rank's 2,215. So that's a good move up for me. I'm doing a little bit better in Supercoach than I thought I would, but I think the bubble's about to burst there. So that's it. Now, not this week, but from next week onwards, we'll be doing a Thursday night chat. Actually, what am I saying? It will be this week. Go to the footymediawatch.com.au website. There'll be a chat link there, and from 9 to 10, I'm happy to take questions or have a chat to you about any changes you might like to make to your teams, and see if we can get a little group session going about how everyone's going with their dream teams. But I'll put up a link to that directly on Twitter on Thursday afternoon and Thursday night to see if anyone's interested in doing that. It's up to you guys. Yeah, love to hear from you all. And so, yeah, next episode I'm going to do this fortnightly from now on, just because I think that the competition has kind of settled down, and I think probably a fortnightly review is probably all that's needed to see who's in and out. If anything drastic happens, I'll do an episode, but we'll just look at who's moving up and who's going down each week, and what kind of trades that could be made going forwards. And in a couple of weeks we'll also be a lot closer to a lot of people's bench players reaching their maximum values. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and good luck to all your teams, and see you in a couple of weeks, and chat to you soon online as well. See you guys.